Welcome to the show.
Oh, Lord, he is.
Of Extreme. Whoa.
He is so sassy today, guys. Just don't get it in my tea.
The Extreme.
I can't even with him right now. So, if you are new,
Now you see me? Now you don't.
if you are new, my name is Jennifer, and this is my husband, Junior.
No, I'm the Extreme.
The Extreme is his gaming name, and we are the Padilla Family Homestead. Our focus is living with intention, and we are starting out. This is the second Monday live. We're starting to do some lives on Mondays and getting just letting you guys get to know us better, talking about some topics, being able to answer some questions live, and have some interaction.
And yes, you can say Bubbles angry. Bubbles!
No, it doesn't sound angry. So I have the chat down here so I can try to keep track and see what's going on. Today we're going to talk about meal planning, food prep, some other things that are going on, an update on the deodorant, some of the plans coming up for this next week, some videos that you're going to see, things like that. So that's kind of, if you have questions, make sure to put the questions in all caps in the chat so it's easier for us to catch these. We're newer to the lives though, so I don't know how many people will be on the live asking questions. So just ask any questions as we're going.
By the way, did you know this year was leap year?
It's over now. Why are you so distracted on this and swirling us?
I'm just keeping conversation.
You're crazy.
You've said like 99% of the conversations.
Yes, that is true. Okay, so it's not a tea time with Jen. We have a whole series that's tea time with Jen. But we are drinking tea right now. So we will share what we are drinking. What tea are you drinking?
It's manly tea. It grows hair on your chest.
It does not.
And
he thinks all tea does.
Beard. It's basil tea.
He's drinking Tulsi, which is holy basil, as the tea.
It's very holy.
And I have mint tea because I have heartburn right now, which is not fun. So, all right, I asked here on YouTube, I asked on Instagram for questions regarding meal prep or food prep and things like that. And I got one question off of Instagram that I want to make sure I touch on today. But before we get into those topics, I want to update on the deodorant. So I have not shared the recipe, and at this point I'm not going to yet because it was fine for like 3 weeks, and then it hit my time of the month and I ended up with sores underneath. And so I don't know if it's a pH problem, if it's just because of that time.
Mine's still fine.
Or what? Are you still using it?
Yes.
Yeah, and you haven't had an issue, right? So
I think it's a hormonal thing.
I think it's a hormonal thing because that can happen. So I have to figure it out. I don't know. So I'm gonna play around with it more, doing natural things. Sometimes you have to look at those other things, those influences that are happening and how things react throughout the month as your pH balance changes and all of that. So we have that going on. So I'm not quite ready to share that recipe. I went ahead, I did buy another deodorant because I need a deodorant. I'm going to give my armpits a break and then come and try another recipe and try that out. But we're going to be traveling next week, and I don't really want to risk that. And I need something that I know for sure is going to work. So I did get some, and then when we get back, I'll figure out what I need to adjust.
Yeah.
But that's the update there. Next Monday, I think we're gonna try to go live.
We're gonna try.
We're gonna try. We're going to be out of town. We won't be here. We're going to see my in-laws, his parents. And so I don't know if we're gonna be on here for sure or not. So just
There'll be drugs.
be aware. Why do you say that? You need to clarify. This is a YouTube channel, and we will get
Drugs.
flagged for drugs.
I mean sugar.
Yeah, I know you mean sugar. So you need to clarify on there.
How would we get flagged?
Because the YouTube gods check everything.
I don't believe in YouTube gods. Okay.
They check things. So just he's talking sugar. So
Sugar.
we're gonna have fun. Anyway.
Sugar.
So while we're talking about food prep and meal planning and all of these kind of things, I am also going to be doing a project that I need to do before we move. This is part of a packing project. We went to a local lavender farm in June of last year, and we took some of my daughter's graduation pictures there. We really like it, but we got a bunch of lavender. Some of it we've used, but these have just been sitting. They still smell super strong. But they've just been sitting out as kind of decoration, but they're too brittle to try to move them anywhere. So things like this, what I'm going to do is kind of shake it and work it into this bag, and then have the buds for to add to soaps or to add to like our underwear drawer, or my underwear drawer, not his underwear drawer. He won't be happy if his underwear smells like lavender. So I'm gonna have this going on. That's why this stuff is here, and make little sachets for it or whatever. But so meal prepping and meal planning. This is an important topic. I think that these two things actually are the pivotal for making cooking at home successful. I think those are probably the two most pivotal things. If we don't have a plan, then things aren't defrosted and we don't have the right combinations of things. And then we go with our cravings for that night, and it becomes kind of more of a mess. And this is where it's more likely you're going to fall off the wagon and order something in. You will sit and eat something that's not as healthy. It's just a pre-prepared food item. And so meal planning and meal prepping are probably the two most important things for making cooking at home successful. So I have gone through many rounds with meal planning, and I sometimes, depending on the season we're in, will depend on what type I do. So sometimes I'm like super detailed. This is what we're having for breakfast, lunch, dinner. Have it all written out. I have when I'm doing my sourdough. I do have a printable thing that I'm working with. I'm not like super happy with it yet, so I'm not ready to share that. But I have something that I've messed with. I've done the chalkboard, writing it up so people know what's for dinner. Different seasons of life, different things seem to work better.
It also involves the whole family to where we have to sit down and come up with this meal prep.
Right.
Because it's going to be a whole week's of meal preps, and it usually involves the whole family, especially when Emily's here. We've been going to schools, having breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
lunch and dinner and everything like that. It's just a situation to where we have to adjust to where everything works for everybody type of thing.
And it helps me when I know what I crave, but I don't know what they're craving. I don't know what they're really wanting. And sometimes I can get in a rut and eat the same type of thing over and over again. And he's like, I'm tapped out. I can't handle this anymore. And so
Like I can't have pasta two nights in a row.
no, and it's really not good for you
No.
anyway with watching sugars and so forth. So, a couple of things that we have found that work well for us is I like to, when I'm like really on my game, the last couple of weeks I have not been on my game, but when I'm really on my game, I really like to have themes. Now, for me, I have a husband and I have a daughter who's here every other week. And so we have a lot going on. We have things happening. Some people have more kids in the household. Sometimes it's just starting out. Like my question is low budget college student meal prepping and how to get started. So if you're a college student, you're doing it mostly for yourself or maybe somebody else that's a roommate. And so any of this stuff that I'm talking about, I'll talk about how to kind of pair it up or kind of pair it down, right? So I like to have some sort of guideline for the day. Um, I usually meal plan dinners, and I try to do breakfast, but we all kind of do different things for breakfast. So sometimes I have a plan for like the two of us, and my daughter does like way higher protein, so she'll have something different. But my meal plan mainly is for dinner, and we'll do tacos on Tuesday. So that can be street tacos, that can be fish tacos, that can be pork, chicken, it can be whatever type of taco that you want to make.
Right.
Have that, and then if you want sides with it, make sides. Most of the time, we just do street tacos, and we're super happy with street tacos. We don't need any sides, and it's an easy dinner. But my daughter loves Taco Tuesdays, tacos on Tuesdays. And so that's something that we do. In the summer, we like to pick a one night. It seemed like it was Wednesday nights for some reason, but have a barbecue night. If your family really likes pizza, every Friday make pizza. And so it becomes a habit. It's not something you have to really remember to do. It becomes a habit. Oh yeah, I'm having this. Now, if you're doing, and you do extra food. Whatever we make for dinner, I make extra. And then that goes for our lunches. And we eat leftovers for lunches.
Yeah.
So if you're single though, and you don't have a whole family you're feeding, when it comes to meal prepping and planning out your meals, if it was me, I would pick a theme for a few days, okay? And do maybe like get your month planner out and then go. I usually do leftovers for no more than 3 days, okay? That's kind of my rule of thumb. So I cook it and then 3 days. So you can do a Mexican themed style dishes, right? Cook a bunch of taco meat, cook a bunch of beans, have a bunch of the sides cut up and ready to go, make some extra salsa. From that, you can make tacos. You can have taco salad, which is really good. You can make burrito bowls, but you're using similar ingredients and usually buying meat in bulk and other things in bulk, you get a better deal. Yeah. And so when you are buying things that you have to prepare yourself, they're whole ingredients, you can spread that out. So if it was me by myself doing it, and I'm focusing on that because that was one of the questions I got. So if it was me by myself, I would go, okay, I'm going to do a series of Mexican style inspired flavors and dishes. Okay. Make those for a few days, then switch. Then maybe make a big batch of stir fry. And that's a couple of meals to go. Eat what you like. Don't plan on prepping big prep things you've never tried, because that's a recipe for disaster. Because if you don't have a lot of time and you don't have a lot of money, then you need to make sure you're starting with what you really like, and make that dish bigger. Or if you really like enchiladas, okay, and you're doing a family of you have a family and you like enchiladas, make 2 trays of enchiladas, put one in the freezer before it's cooked, and pop the other one in the oven. You don't do that much extra work to put them together. It doesn't take that long to put them together. The biggest thing is getting all the ingredients together and then waiting for it to cook. So if you get all the ingredients together and you make 2 batches, one goes in the freezer, and then you have one for your family that night, you've now taken care of dinner for a night that you are super busy and you need to grab something last minute out. If you are single by yourself, just shrink that down. Get smaller glass containers and freeze them, and then take them out and make multiple meals with that. And so that's kind of thinking about that's how I would start. Figure it out what it is that you like to eat. If you're just learning how to cook, then I would start with some of your basic things. What do you go out and buy? Do you eat hamburgers? Well, buy a lot of hamburger meat, make hamburger patty shapes, freeze the patties, and then take them out as you need them. If it is sandwiches that you like, then you can buy lunch meat and freeze it. You can buy cheese, pre-slice it, and freeze it, and take it out as you need it. Buy it in bulk so you're saving money, and then put it out. Yeah, it's spring. The grass is blooming. So I think for me, those are some of my big tips for starting. Is make extra of what you really like. Now, my daughter needs to do the higher protein because of the PCOS. And we are trying to lower carbs, but we're also trying to up our fiber. So we want good carbs. We don't want necessarily as many bad carbs. She's gluten-free. And so the weeks that she's here, we really try to have just the whole house go gluten-free as much as possible. It just makes life easier. The only thing we have to be careful. You could do gluten-free, but not like gluten-free bread. I'm talking like steak and vegetables, no carb.
Right.
He has to be careful because we were noticing that gluten-free breads and stuff are spiking his sugars more. So, but for me, I go, okay, I'm going to make a big batch of beans. And she loves beans with eggs for breakfast. You could do beans and chorizo, chorizo and eggs. You can have hash browns mixed in there somewhere. Making burrito bowls in the morning for breakfast, like a breakfast burrito bowl, is amazing. Having some corn tortillas on hand. If you don't have a lot of time, don't worry about making the tortillas from scratch. If you are trying to figure this out, start with the easy things first. Make the big batch of beans, and then day of, heat up some tortillas, scramble a couple of eggs, and boom, you're ready to go. But the beans are good in the fridge for a few days, and you can eat that in many different ways. Having a day where you prep like protein balls and other snack style things, you can make a big batch of homemade granola and make it whatever flavor you want. You could turn those into bars if you wanted to, but protein balls are big. We really like protein balls.
Yeah.
I can eat 3 protein balls and that's like my breakfast. So having things convenient, and finding what you like, making extra. And if you have prepared stuff in the refrigerator, ready to rock and roll, then that makes your life easy. So another thing we do is we try to think about what meat we're going to eat for the week, and really at the beginning of the week start taking out what we're going to eat for that week. Everything kind of defrost at different timelines, so I'll plan accordingly with that. Sometimes I'll take more stuff out on Wednesday night for the remainder of the week. But plan your meat, plan what vegetables you're going to have. Go to the grocery store with a list. I will say that it is more, if you're trying to save money, if you're trying to save money, you're going to have to spend more time. It is nice to be able to get groceries delivered with Instacart. Then you're not going and buying extra little things, right? You're not impulse buying. But Instacart, you pay more per item. If there's deals, if it doesn't show on the app, that doesn't mean you're getting the deal. There's a few stores that have in-store prices, but then you still have deliveries and service fees and tip and all the things, and it adds up. So being aware of that. Literally shopping at Costco from Instacart is almost $4 to $5 extra per item. It is insane. When we were doing the math, because we did it a couple of times at one point, and I was, oh, I can't do this anymore.
No, 10 items, that's $50.
Yeah, it was crazy how much it went up. As I'm talking, if you guys have questions, or if you have experience with meal prepping or meal planning, have something that really works for you, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Make sure you share your knowledge with some of the other viewers. The other thing I think that's big when it comes to meal planning and meal prepping is so going to the store, right? Don't go to the store hungry, but as much as you can start to buy bulk, which we're going to talk next week, focused, I think, more on building a bulk pantry and how to start doing that. But having a pantry set up, okay, you have glare. Setting up your pantry in a way that is cost effective. My favorite example is basil. I buy 1 pound of basil, which is like a gallon of basil. That's a lot of basil, okay? It goes in 2 half-gallon jars or 2 quart jars and a half-gallon jar. And I can use that basil up in a year with how much I cook, okay? That basil costs me $7 and 40 something cents, so just under $8 for 1 pound of basil. You get like half an ounce in your jars that you get for like $1 at Walmart or whatever. When you do the math on how much, and if I'm getting organic basil for that price, right? So when I do the math, and I did it for organic for what I can get at Walmart, it was like I saved over $100 on basil for the year. That's one item, one herb. Herbs are amazing how much you can save by doing that, right? So when you have a pantry set up and you start to build that, then you can meal plan out of it. One of my favorite shows to watch was Chopped.
Yeah.
You remember that show? Where you get the mystery basket and you get to take stuff out of it and play around and figure out how to make something out of it. And when you go to meal plan at some point, if you have a pantry, You can, hold on one second, I'm looking at a thing. You could start to meal plan shopping straight from your kitchen. Um, you could start to cook straight from your kitchen, from your pantry, and then just fill in the gaps. And so if you know what you like and you eat a lot of it, so we eat a lot of Italian herbs between rosemary, oregano, basil, parsley, garlic powder, onion powder, those type of things. Having a lot of those things on hand, those are staples in so many dishes. I use them in breads, I use them in soups, I use them on my roasted vegetables. Um, I use them on all kinds of things. And so making sure you have those staples on hand will make your life a lot easier when it comes to that. So again, we do the themes. I'm going to scroll back to that. We do the themes a lot. So a taco night, a barbecue night, a pizza night. We were doing that quite a bit, and we got out of that when we went strictly gluten free. I haven't gone back into that. Stir fry night. In the winter, we usually have a night where we do soup and a night where we do winter squash in some way. And it's not a challenge for me making the meal plan going, okay, this is what I need to get, right? Um, and then when it comes to prepping it, look at that plan and prep as much as you can on one day. And that'll make your life easier on all the other days. Um, because if you don't have this stuff on hand and if you don't have the stuff on hand and you don't know what you're going to make, you're just going to go willy-nilly, and that could be dangerous if you're just starting. Um, so my suggestion would be figure out what you eat, what your kids eat, what your family likes. You can have one night, maybe that's an experimental night. Like this is your night that somebody in the family gets to pick that meal that night on what they want to try. And the kids can get involved, parents get involved, whoever it is, get involved and have a list of recipes that everybody wants to try at some point in time and have maybe Saturday nights be.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about it, especially for college people, I want to say is that it depends on your budget.
Mhm.
Shop where your budget works.
Mhm.
Don't shop expensive. Try to go something like Winco, for instance. That's a good buy cheap,
Mhm.
not too bad of products, uh, and just buy what you can. And I think the biggest key, what I've learned from watching her, is having an imagination of how to put things together
Mhm.
and making it work.
Well,
You don't have to. You don't have to have every single ingredient. Sometimes.
no, I have the imagination, but he has the palate. Like he knows what it's missing. If it needs an acid or if it needs a little extra
Yeah,
fat
but
of some
it's not
sort.
gonna be perfect right away. It's more
No.
of experimenting and getting it right, getting the dishes you like done, and then eventually putting at putting that in your planners. Like, okay, so Mondays is this,
Hmm.
Tuesdays this, Thursdays this, and then you might even work out to where one day you have your friends come over, and then another day you can go to one of your friends' house. That way, it's not too much on you, and
As you're
it's not too
starting.
much on
Hmm.
them. So it's just a matter of getting ideas like that, and not just that, getting involved with your family, your friends,
Hmm.
and making it work.
I know Winco's, I think it's on the West Coast. I don't know how far east it goes, but Winco has bulk herbs and spices and
Yeah.
stuff. They have an incredible selection, and it is money saving to buy herbs in bulk at any level over buying those plastic containers over and over again. Um, I just put them in a mason jar Other people actually buy spice jars, but when you start cooking from scratch, you go through one of those spice jars really fast. It's like annoying to have to fill it all the time. So I just started using the mason jars. But you can also prep breakfast. If breakfast is like a key thing for you and you're on the go in the morning, you can do overnight oatmeal, a big batch of it, and have it set up in containers in the fridge. You can have oatmeal and fruit already paired out for a few days and have that in a fridge and have 2 days a week where you prep all your breakfasts. And so you have a few days of yogurts and then you switch and you do oatmeals or you do granola or cereals. You have things set up for you. There's a lot of things you can pre-divide out. Costco has these great glass containers instead of Tupperware that they have a plastic clamp lid on it, and it's a glass. I think it's Pyrex, right? So it can go in the oven, and it's these things are amazing. We use them for our leftovers.
And it could be washed in the dishwasher. So
Yep, and it's glass, so like my daughter's supposed to not use plastic as much for heating up because it can mess up hormones. So um it's very convenient, and they come in different sizes, so you can have things for more leftovers, or you can just pre-portion out your leftovers into meal sizes. We do that when we make soup. This is a serving size and it goes in the fridge, and we get to grab. Most of the time he likes soup, but I am like the soup eater. So if I make soup, I'm usually eating the leftover soup for a couple days, and then he's eating the leftovers for lunch from whatever had more of a meat and more of a heartier meal.
I'll eat just soup too.
Sometimes depends on how much we've done soup.
Yeah.
But don't get food bored. That is another downfall. If you don't meal plan, or you meal plan the same things over and over and over again, you are going to get so tired of what you are eating. And so having the theme like tacos, and then changing what you're eating, a fish taco with coleslaw. You can do a regular, like, just you sometimes will make those bean and cheese quesadilla style tacos that you just heat up. They're super easy to make and they're simple. And so sometimes those are just like, they hit the spot for me with the little extra beans on the side. So just having some stuff on hand where you can think ahead, plan ahead, and eat healthy. But again, start what you eat. Do you have anything else that you think on those subjects?
No.
Because I think that, if people have questions, please ask. But I think that's my suggestion for the low budget college student meal prep too. How to get started. Just make extra of what you already eat. Shop appropriately.
I will say that eating at home's way better for you, and sometimes way cheaper, just because you have extra items, because you're buying in bulk. It might feel like you're buying extra, or feel like you're wasting, but you're really not, because you're gonna have 2 or 3 extra meals from what you make, depending on the size of the meals that you make. So
it's amazing how, like, we primarily right now, because we don't have a garden right now, and we don't have animals, so we need to buy our meat, and we need to buy our produce. I still have a few things that I have to go through in our freezer from the farm from last fall that I was able to do pick farm stuff for 45 cents a pound. And so having, like, I still have some tomatoes in there and things like that.
That's another good idea. Finding farms near you that'll, like that.
Yeah.
Where can pick your own food.
And this person is actually local. So, the person who asked me that question, Slough House, in Slough House, there's a farm called Davis Ranch. And in the summers, I know it went up because it was 40 cents a pound, and then last year it went up to 45 cents a pound. So I don't know what it's going to be this year, but I think it's June through October.
Something like that.
They updated on their website when it is, but it's Tuesdays and Saturdays from sunrise to 1 p.m. You get to go out into the fields and you pick whatever you want. They weigh your car when you go in, and then they weigh your car when you leave, and on the same exact scale. And you have to put in the work, but you can go out there and get a ton of green beans, a ton of tomatoes. You can get you go pick peppers, bell peppers, and like jalapenos.
You can get corn, watermelon,
delicious corn.
Winter squash.
Yep. Onions. Oh my gosh, we got 50 pounds of onions for 45 cents a pound. And if we're cooking at home, you put onions in, like, you don't realize how much you use onions. So it's amazing what you can get. And then having a way, you don't want to get too much though that you don't have a room to store. So if you like pickled things, going when they have the cucumbers, getting a bunch of cucumbers, make a bunch of pickles. Quick pickles are super easy to make. You don't have to can them, and you put them in the fridge and they're good for a while, and you can eat through those and then go in a couple months and do another batch. But if you go out there with your friends and you each go get a bunch of stuff and you're processing stuff together, it makes it so much more enjoyable, and then you have stuff on hand. But that could be a fun, like, once a month. If we have an extra freezer, and so we have a chest freezer and we have a extra fridge, and that is what we store a lot of stuff in there. So it makes those trips really worth it, because I can go in and get 500 pounds of food for $250, less than $250, and I can go through and preserve it all, and I freeze a lot of it and then utilize it throughout the year. I mean, we got 100 ears of corn, blanched them, popped them in the freezer, and that was amazing to eat through December. It was so good. But that's going to cost extra money to have a chest freezer or a refrigerator. We are in an apartment right now. We're planning on moving, but we are in an apartment right now, so we just don't have a dining room per se. We extended our kitchen and made it work for us. We turned a closet into a pantry, and we make that stuff work for us. So finding the places around that are inexpensive but good quality, and learning the basics. I would say you should get a foundation of basics if you are just starting. If you like pasta, making fresh pasta is super simple, super easy. You can dry it. You can freeze it into little single size serving, like pasta nest things. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. Have a day where you make pasta, and now you are prepped. All you need to do is pop it in some salted boiling water and top it with some sauce, and you're done. You just put one day's work in, make a ton of pasta, and then you can do it again with your friends or family members, and then you have days and days and days of meals available to you. And as a college student, you just pop in a serving in boiling water, and I mean, I like just a little bit of olive oil or butter, not olive oil, avocado oil or butter, and top it with some herbs. It's delicious. Super simple. So those are my suggestions. Let me know if you watch this on replay too. Let me know if you have any questions or suggestions, anything along those lines, and I will respond to them in the chat. I watch my comments, so if you comment, I'll be the one responding, and let me know if you have any questions regarding any of that. Next week, we're going to try to go live on Monday again at 4 p.m. Pacific time, and we are going to be talking about that building a bulk pantry, how to start doing that. Because starting it, I think, is the most daunting and confusing part of a bulk pantry. Now it's easy. I know how to thought process through it, but it's when you're very first beginning, it can be a little trickier. So we're going to talk about that a little bit next week. So if you have any questions regarding a bulk pantry, drop that in the comments below, and I will make sure I put them on my list to talk about next week on that live. So that's it for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. We've had people kind of coming in and out, I've seen. So we will see you back here. We have some fun videos coming this week. We're really focusing on Easter style things because Easter's coming up. So we have an Easter tradition. I have a non-Easter kind of thing. I have some flavored salts. We made a video of me making 5 different flavored salts. Oh, so good. So that video is coming out within the next couple of weeks. And then I have a couple more recipes. I have another family tradition. We're sharing all kinds of stuff. So we will have lots of fun for you. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on what is coming next, and turn those notifications on. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.